Alright, hello and welcome. Just gonna jump right into it here. This is not a low stats run, but I'm not in endgame gear either. I do show my stats, gear, and hero levels at the end of the run. Wave 1 gonna be all about auras. I would suggest for wave 1 just placing an ensnare, an electric, and a strength drain aura in each lane. What you'll see me do is slightly different, and I'm just trying to min-max what I can get done per build phase. But the easiest thing to do, and what you'll have just enough build mana to do, is just drop an ensnare, an electric, and the strength drain aura in each lane. What you saw me do was start with an ensnare on that south wall, and then at the end of the build phase I'll also drop an ensnare on the other side to match that one. And those ensnare auras do a really good job of slowing down the copters that come in on those lanes. And what you'll see me do here is I forego a strength drain on this lane just to be able to have enough build mana to drop this ensnare. And I just like getting those ensnares out of the way wave 1 on that south wall, because otherwise you have to kind of go out of your way to drop them. And I don't know, I just find it easier to drop them on wave 1 with just enough time. But I'm gonna start off the wave up on this side wall here, and I'm gonna take out these copters first. And then there's usually 2 Jinn that spawn in on wave 1. One of them got stuck behind the wall, as you can kind of see right there, so he didn't come in. But going to be 2 Jinns. So the copters and the Jinns, the absolute priority for the whole run, because it's wave 1 and I don't have gas traps down and I don't really have a whole lot of DPS on each lane yet. I do take out the Sharkin myself. You'll need to take them out yourself, otherwise they'll make it to the crystal, but there's only a few of them, so it's not really a big deal. And then everything else just kind of gets taken out by the electric auras. The electric auras are plenty of damage for at least my stats to take out the rest of the enemies without issues. And I am going to prioritize, since this is hardcore, I am going to prioritize running around, getting mana, and then I'll also be repairing things pretty often. If you're doing this solo, especially on hardcore, it's a little tight in terms of timing. So one of the strategies that I employ to kind of help with that and get around the fact that timing is so tight is that you'll see me doing little things to stall the waves out at the end. So for instance, at the end of this wave, wave 1, what you'll see is that there's a gang of spiders that just kind of hang out on one of the crystals, and I like that because if I don't kill them, the wave can just go on. It can go on indefinitely, and I have plenty of time to run around and get mana and make sure that I am all ready to go for the next build phase. So you'll see me do that on pretty much every wave, and that's part of why this run is almost a half hour. It's because I do take my time. The boss fight is also pretty long too when you do it solo, but I'm just checking the map for mana that I missed right there when I'm jumping up there up top, and I see that I got it, so I take out those spiders and then swap right over to my trap huntress. Now what I'm going to do is drop a gas trap and an inferno trap on each lane. Now it's probably smarter to see this is a good spot here. I think that's a good spot, but for these it's probably better to drop them as close to spawn as possible. I just like that pillar because I know it's the same spot every time. I am going to jump up here, drop a gas trap. I only have time to get one of those gas traps down on that one side, so I'm going to start with that one, and then a gas trap and an inferno trap on this lane and the other across from it. Now ideally I would have gotten that gas trap up there as well, but I have time instead to drop my missing strength drain aura. Now all of my auras are down. Effectively I could swap my aura monk out and it wouldn't matter. All of my auras are done. So I'm going to start the wave off on this wall here, and I have a gas trap on this side. Now I'm going to use this ogre copter to my advantage here. I do see some Jinn, and I want to take the Jinn out too. The Jinn are always going to be high priority because you don't want anything taken off the map. Of course, that's gonna throw everything off on your build phase. But this copter ogre is stalled out, but right behind me, and it's stalled out on the gas trap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some damage to it. Then I'm going to leave it alone for a little bit, and I'm going to wait until it starts coming in and then shoot it down. Now what this does is it gets that ogre stuck there, and now I can stall the wave out as long as I want. So you'll see me checking the overlay map quite a bit, and I'm just checking to see what's where. You know, where is my attention really needed? What should I prioritize? And wave 1 and wave 2, very easy. I mean, not many enemies as you can see, and there's only a few Sharkin and a couple Jinn, couple copter ogres, so not really a big deal. But that overlay map becomes invaluable during the later waves of this run, because if you don't take out the Jinn and the copters quickly, you run into problems. But as you can see there, my strength drain auras have taken a decent amount of damage, that does become a priority throughout the run, making sure your strength drain auras and really all of your auras and traps stay topped off, because you never know. You don't want anything to go down, really. And the strength drains, they drain so quickly that it does become a priority to run around and repair things pretty often just to make sure you don't lose anything, because if you lose something wave 5 and then the boss fight queues up, you're going to have to go that whole boss fight without, a strength drain aura, a wall, an inferno trap. Like, that's going to be bad. So I do run around and make a priority out of making sure things are repaired. Now, see, I've just got that ogre left, and since he's stuck there, I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to run around, collect mana, repair things, just make sure I'm in the best shape possible going into wave 3. And I'm going to do that each wave. There's no reason not to do that. It's always easy enough to figure out some way to stall out the waves. And if you're running this solo, you really want to take advantage of the fact that you can give yourself plenty of time to prepare wave to wave. The last thing you want to do is have the build crumble because something goes down, or you die trying to repair something during the wave. In our case here, it's hardcore, so if I die, it's over. But I'm just going to snipe him from across the map over here, because the next thing I want to do is drop down a bunch of walls. Now, one thing to think about is everything I'm setting up, it's mostly for the boss fight. The boss fight ends up being how long can your stuff last. And the way I do it, you'll see that you can maintain your lanes for a really long time without too much hassle. So I do one wall on the side lanes, and I do 2 on the middle lane. And then I do 2 walls each on these lanes. Now, the thing with the walls is if you don't have a wall in a lane, you're screwed. And if a Jinn takes a wall, where I have 2 walls, at least I still have the other. Or if, a shark pushes one back, the walls are really, really important. So I do double up on certain lanes. But next, I'm going to start off the wave. Same place I have been is on these side walls here. And the reason I do that is because you get a nice side view of these copters, obviously. And then my triple threat can deal a lot of damage on those copters very quickly by having all 3 arrows connect. And now I'm looking to see where the Jinn are. They, of course, are easy enough to take out from these walls. Also, I get a nice vantage point of the rest of the map from up here as well. So I can just hang out and snipe them from up here. And I did see another couple of copter ogres coming in on the overlay map there. So I'm going to take the one out that's close to me. And I let them come in a little bit so that they can drop the ogre in a nice spot for me to stall out the wave later on. And, I decided to take out the one over there that was stalled out on the gas trap before looking in my lanes here. Every once in a while, a sharkin gets to a wall. Not really a big deal. I have plenty of time to replace that wall. But I could, if this was wave 5 for you and that's what happened, you're actually still okay, because those walls are going to do a good enough job blocking the lane off for you, so you wouldn't really be in bad shape if you left it like that for, say, the boss fight. But in my case, I'll just leave it like that for now. I'm not going to worry about it. Just checking the overlay map to see where the ogres are. I noticed that I have one on the north side as well, and I have plenty of time to take care of that wall. It's in good shape, I know. So I take care of the ogre on the back first, and then I hop over and deal with this ogre here. Once the ogres are down, I mean, that's the end of the wave pretty much. So once this guy goes down, and I know all I have left are some wyverns and like an orc there, I think, I can repair everything up again, just like I did before. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, the same game plan. I'm going to repair everything up, collect some mana, and take advantage of the fact that I have another stuck ogre. I do speed this up because it's literally the same thing. I'm just repairing things and collecting mana, just stalling the wave out a little bit while I have my one stuck ogre exactly where I want him, so I can run around and make sure everything is looking good going into wave 4. Wave 4 and wave 5, I would say, are a significant jump in challenge from waves 1, 2, and 3. And of course, I'm just going to replace those since I have the chance, so I sell them, and I'll replace those with my squire. The next things that I want to drop down are some like ancillary traps, I guess you would call them, some assistance traps, some darkness traps, and another inferno or 2. You'll see what I'm up to. But from here, you kind of have carte blanche to customize the build however you think it would be most beneficial. But I'm going to start with the other gas trap over here. I think that's really important. It's nice to have that stall time on those copters. It is very convenient. But I am going to drop some darkness traps over here. If I'm spending time anywhere in the middle of the map, it's going to be on this little pad. And I do want those spiders to come in and be blinded. Now those darkness traps, they're very much optional. You're going to see that I drop an Inferno down here just to deal a little more damage in the lane. I did have to resize it just to get it to fit in that spot. And then of course, going to start the wave off in my usual place. Taking out the South Ogre copters is always going to be my priority, so I target them first and then check the map to see where the Djinns are and what kind of sirens I have. Type of sirens you get are going to be what element of RNG you have to deal with. Any Massacre map is going to be kind of a mixed bag what you get for sirens. You hope you don't get poison, but sometimes you do. Here I have one, and I'm surprised I didn't see that shark and just run right by me because, of course, he makes it to the crystal and takes some shots at it. What it makes me wonder too is in other runs, in other maps, I use enrage auras to counter poison siren immunity, and maybe enrage auras in the lanes that only have one wall is a good idea, because you would have the DU for it if you say went with no darkness traps in the middle, or maybe you didn't have that Inferno in the other lane. And one thing I did notice after the fact, but I didn't notice it while I was in the run, is that I actually did lose an ensnare aura on that south wall. Not a big deal, but I would have much rather had it, of course. They're always nice to have, but something else does make it to my crystal. Just pop down and take that out real quick, no big deal. But yeah, I think maybe enrage auras would have been a better idea in these lanes. I borrowed heavily for this build from another video, the only other video that I could see, that I could find on YouTube right now, of someone running Massacre Hardcore The Summit campaign. And he runs it with 2 people. I'll link the video in the description if you're interested in seeing how this would be co-op, but I borrowed from his build mainly. It's a little different mine, but I'm thinking enrage auras might actually be a better bet in the lanes where there's only one wall, just as another layer of security in those lanes. Or maybe 2 walls would be better. I'm not really sure. I'll have to run some tests, and if I find anything crazy, if I find anything to be much better, I'll pin a comment or something in terms of what I think would be better to make this build better. And by any means, if you have anything that you think would make this build better, drop a comment, let me know how I can tweak it. I'm always interested in optimizing my builds and getting feedback, but at this point, I just have my stuck ogre again, so I speed this up. It's more of the same, you know. I'm just gonna run around, get the mana while I can, and then check everything out and see how things are. Repair up my walls. I do repair as much as I can rather than upgrade, even when they're low, because I want to save those cheap upgrades as emergency repairs for during the boss fight. I can't stress enough how important that is. If you need to run out and save something from going down real quick, the easiest thing to do is upgrade it. And if you save those cheap upgrades, then you're going to be able to do that more times. And certain things, like I do upgrade some auras here. You end up with a lot of mana. I end up sitting on like 4,000 mana at one point. So I figure, why not drop a level or 2 on the strength drains and the electric auras and the walls, but I don't go nuts. And I'm trying to strike a balance between them having a lot of health to last a long time during the boss fight unassisted, and for them to be cheap enough to upgrade still, that if I need to drop an upgrade as an emergency repair, that I can still do that. So kind of try to strike a balance between repairs and upgrades for your defenses, but I do end up upgrading the electric auras and the strength drains in each lane just to get a little more out of them, just so they have a little more health, and just so that they do some more damage and do a better job helping out with enemy spawns for my walls and stuff. But I do, of course, need to replace my wall here. I really am thinking too, would 2 walls be better here instead of those darkness traps? Maybe, I'm not sure. But I do end up dropping another Inferno here, and I seriously didn't notice that I lost my ensnare aura on the south wall. I didn't even think about the fact that, why do I have extra DU? So I didn't think about that, and I would have strongly preferred to have that aura rather than one of the darkness traps in the middle. Plenty of room to be optimized still. I think that's pretty obvious from this run. But gonna start off wave 5 here, and in the same spot, same sort of deal really. I'm looking at copters, and I'm checking the map, the overlay map. I see I have 2 physical sirens That's not the end of the world there. I'll take that. And then, of course, I'm going to look out for Jinn and snipe them from my little sniper's nest up here, my little high wall sniper's nest. I can see the Jinn on the map, and I take them out, but I always do prioritize these south copters on the south walls because they have a shorter flight to get to a place where they can drop an ogre and mess things up. But I opt to go into the middle of the map here just to get rid of those Jinn quickly. And wave 5 it's kind of a lot, so you do have to look out for things. Check your map. I see that I have another Jinn right there, so I decided to kill the copter first and then the Jinn. And you know, as long as he doesn't take anything, I'm happy. It's wave 5, so at this point, if something does go, then I can't really replace it. And I did actually end up losing a darkness trap in the middle there. One thing that's nice about playing a Huntress is that if you lose a trap, you can just replace it with a lesser trap. I can't remember what I actually even do with that 3DU now, but it ends up not really being a big deal. So there is quite a bit going on wave 5. The most important thing, relax, stay calm, stick to the game plan. Once the copters and Jinn are down, it's mostly just about getting those ogres off the walls and making sure that none of your walls go down. So in this case, I opt to do the cheap upgrade and then pay attention to the other side. And once the ogres are down here, that's it. Once the ogres go down, you are boss ready. So, you know, this is kind of crunch time. You don't want to lose anything right now. It's wave 5. It's the end of wave 5. Now, you'll notice that I don't have a stuck ogre. Oh, I do have one. I was going to say what I would do if I didn't have a stuck ogre. That was actually me looking at my stuck ogre to make sure it was there when I saw it off the overlay map. But what you could do is just let one ogre beat on a wall for a while, you know, repair that wall and then run away, do some stuff, come back, repair the wall a little bit, run away, do more stuff until you're ready, and then you kill the ogre. But in my case, I do have a stuck ogre that is primed and ready to stall the wave out for me. So I am just going to get some repairs and whatnot going just to save time now, because the rest of these enemies, my traps, my auras, they're going to be plenty to take these enemies out. So I start my repairs and everything right now and let the traps and auras take everything out. Now I just noticed that ogre over there and my wall taking some damage over here. So I decide to just get rid of this ogre, or rather do some damage to this ogre. He's got physical resistance, so I do stop and just repair the wall and bail. And you know, that could be my, if you didn't have a stuck ogre, that could be what you use to stall the wave out. Also the spiders, you know, there's always a group of spiders hanging out on the crystal. You have options. There are plenty of ways to drag a wave out and give you plenty of time to repair things and you know, collect mana and get ready. So that is what I think about when I think about the end of wave 5. It's boss prep time. Even before that 30 seconds, this is boss prep time. So I do speed this up. The rest of this is just me killing the ogre that had physical resistance and then repairing things. So you're not really missing anything from me speeding this up. You can see that my strength drain auras, they do take a fair amount of damage, and you know, very important to repair them as you're going. But I do opt to just repair everything and take my time with my one stuck ogre left. And that is the beauty of you know, manipulating the map a little bit just to get yourself some time. That build timer really is a bit much in Massacre. Very, very beneficial to find a way to stall that out. So in terms of the boss and the boss fight, when the boss spawns, your priority is not the boss. Your priority at first is to take out the Jinns and copters, and once they're down, then it's safe to fight the boss, because if the Jinn take your stuff, you're going to have problems. And if the copters drop full health ogres and then they come after you, the rockets are going to hit you pretty hard. You might die, so that's not worth the risk. So that's what you'll see me do. I kill this guy, and then I'm just going to hang out back here. I don't need this prepare for boss 30 seconds for anything. I'm already ready to go. So I've got plenty of mana. My stuff's in good shape. Everything's topped off. Things are upgraded. I'm going to hang out in the back and wait. I'm going to treat it like any other wave. Essentially, in my mind, This is wave 6, and of course, the first thing I'm going to look out for, copters and Jinn. So that's what I do. I take out the copters first. It's like the boss isn't even there for me at this point. The only thing you have to be mindful of, you have to watch out for these fireballs. And the easiest thing that I have found to dodge most of them, not that one obviously, is to jump. You'll notice that I have a decent health pool here. I added all of my rune power hero points to vitality, so I do have a fair amount of vitality. I show my stats at the end, you'll see how much I have. But next, after the copters are down, I'm going to run around and get these Jinn out of the way as quick as I can. I'm looking at the map here. Where do I have copters? Where do I have Jinn still? I see I've got one copter in the corner there and one Jinn on the in the middle, sort of. So I prioritize them next. And you'll see that I don't really put too much stock into killing the ogres. If you had another player, absolutely, yeah, take out the ogres that are in the lanes. But for me, just me, I'm gonna let the ogres beat on the walls, and I'll do a little drive-by and repair, or I'll upgrade them to repair them as needed, and I'll let the walls essentially take care of the ogres for me. But I do end up running over here just in time to hit him with the ballista, and that's what you want to do. You want to fight the boss by doing the normal mechanic. What ends up happening is each time I get him down and into one of the lanes here, I end up doing a lot of damage each time. Now, it's not safe to just fight the boss once you take out that first batch of copters and Jinn. You do need to watch out for when they start coming back, because it's kind of like a reset. Like, you have a few minutes now. Once you kill them, you have a few minutes to fight the boss, but when they come back, you really can't ignore them, because they're going to mess everything up. So you can see here though, like this is about a quarter of the boss's health, you know, in just one round of him coming down after you get him with the ballista. And one thing I do is I kind of tuck into that wall there so the fireballs don't get me when he spits them out at you. And it's really easy to get him again. Once you get him once, it's really easy to just get him one more time. So, and now I know I have some time before he gets to his lane to come over, just drop an upgrade on that wall real quick. That's way faster than sitting there and taking that ogre out myself. I'd be missing all this time on the boss. But of course, as soon as I see another copter, that's it. That's round 2. I know more copters are coming. I know more Jinn are going to spawn. I guess they're kind of on a timer, but once I see that first copter, and that's why I'm checking my overlay map so much, I know it's go time. I need to look at the map and take care of the important enemies on the map. And you also will, of course, have to dodge fireballs. One thing I noticed is that if I hear him spitting fire, that means there are no fireballs coming, so that's nice. But I'm going to take out those copters and Jinn. I don't want to lose too much stuff. You know, you might lose a thing or two off the map if you don't get the Jinn fast enough. It's not the end of the world. So I see that I have a portal there. I'm going to take out this Jinn here, take out that copter up there, and then I'm going to use that portal. Why not? And I miss, of course. I try to shoot right away, but he's flying away now. And sometimes, you know, it's good to have a little bit of mana on tap at all times in your mana bar for your hero mana, because you want to be able to turn that power on real quick and just dash around. I just barely got over there fast enough. So see, here's the thing. I started to repair, and it's like you don't have time to repair things during the boss fight. So I just decided to go over and do some damage, take advantage of the fact that he's down again, and I can get some damage in on him here. Now, I do tuck in right against that wall, protection from fireballs, but when he spits fire, you do have to step back a little bit from this spot to not get hit by the fire. You really don't want to get hit by that. It does a good amount of damage. And see, the fire, the way he spits the fire like that, that's one of the reasons why I have my walls tucked in as far as I do toward the spawn. Otherwise, they'll get hit by this fire. I found that if I had the walls too far back, his spitting fire would deal damage to the wall. So now I can see he's headed this way. Another easy shot. No big deal. You do have to, of course, watch out for Dark Elf warriors trying to come in and attack you, but I'm waiting to see which wall he comes down on at this point. And now what's cool over here is that he's actually taking damage from my Inferno trap, it looked like there. So you know, more of the same though. I do end up just hanging out, using my hero mana to increase the amount of damage that I do to him. This is kind of a long fight, but you know, as long as you maintain the map and just make sure that your stuff is in good shape and that, you know, your walls look okay and that there's not too many ogres just running around beating on things, you'll make it through just fine. So as soon as I see copters coming in again, I know, boom, round 3. It's very tempting to just fight the boss. You don't want to do that. You don't want copters coming after you, shooting rockets at you. You don't want Jin just taking all your stuff. And you certainly don't want 5 or 6 ogres beating on a wall. It's going to go down, so you're going to have a problem there if that happens. Now, I see the Jin taking my my trap there, but I care more about killing that copter than my darkness trap there, so I wait a little bit to take that Jin out. And now I'm just looking for more Jin and repairing walls and stuff like that, just to make sure the rest of the map is okay. I got kind of lucky here. I actually had a little pile of Jin in this one lane, which was really cool. So I didn't have to look out for where else they were. Just checking my map there to see what I have left. I see I have a copter. Gonna prioritize that next, and then the boss. So now the last copter is down, and the Jin are down. Now I know, okay, time to focus the boss. I do think that the thing that's gonna hold people up from having an easier time with this is that they ignore the map and pay too much attention to the boss. It's so important to make sure your lanes are in good shape. And see, I lost a wall back here, but I'm cool because I have another wall. If that wall wasn't there, I would have ogres beating on a crystal right now. That would be a problem. So, you know, that's why I like 2 walls in that spot. But at this point now, I'm looking for the boss. I want to shoot him down. I want to get him in a lane. And I do make it over here just in time. See, that's the benefit of having a little bit of player mana. Always having a little, so you can turn the power on and jump across the map if you need to. But I get lucky here. He just shows up right in front of me, and now I have plenty of mana to turn on my power and hose him down if I want to. I do take a little damage there. See, I didn't move back fast enough, and I took a little fire damage there, but not to worry. See, now we're in the home stretch. I know that I don't have to deal with any more Jin or copters or anything between now and when this boss goes down. I know I have plenty of time to kill him now, so I'm focused entirely on the fight. Honestly, at this point, if the boss is this low, then yeah, it kind of is safe to ignore the map as long as you don't have a copter right on you trying to take you down with some rockets. So I do end up popping over, getting in with one more rocket or one more ballista shot, and you can see, yeah, I've got copters coming in now, but right there again. So that works out really well for me. I decide, okay, it's safe to ignore the map at this point. He's almost dead. Turn on the juice, let him have it. And down he goes. Now, I was really happy about this when it happened. So I run to the middle, fire off some victory shots. You're seeing my first time ever completing this on hardcore. And I popped the chest, and I was really, really happy to see this. This is like the ideal gemstone. One thing to note, though, I got a level 134 gemstone from a regular run, so you know, just saying, you don't need hardcore for a good gemstone. But I'm just going to show my stats here. You can see I wouldn't call it low stats, you know. There's my triple threat and my cat, so I mean, not low stats. 2200 power, 1800 vitality. But what I will say is this gear, it's not end game gear. This is all from mixed mode, Nightmare Hardcore mixed mode, and the campaign, the Massacre campaign. So you can totally gear up without running Monster Fest, which is like the end game gear farm for this, and you'll be fine. You know, a lot of my stuff's not even maxed out. Like my pets aren't even maxed out. This gear is, some of it's pretty good, some of it's not. So, you know, just get in here and give it a shot with what you have. If you have stats comparable to mine, yeah, just get in here and run it and let me know how it goes. Give it a shot. If you tweak the build, you do something different, let me know. I'm going to run this more. There's my hero deck, 95, 97, 96, 97. So you definitely don't need level 100 heroes either. And you'll be fine with whatever you got. I'd say, you know, level 90 is probably a good idea. But there it is. Campaign Massacre Hardcore. 32 minutes. So it is a bit of a commitment, but 83.5 million XP. That is nice. So that's it for the run. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions, as always. And I really appreciate you checking out my channel. So thanks again. Have a good one.